Well, hello there, my brothers and sisters. It's Josh Packer. Welcome to another episode of The Golden Image of Churchianity is a Lie. Thank you for joining me today. If this is your first time, welcome. Um, Today I want to tell you a little story. My kids and I were talking, and they asked me why people die. And so I break it down. I say, well, because God is the source of all life. God brought his life to the earth through Adam. When Adam turned on God, the life force was cut off, and so Adam began to die, and the earth died as a result. Everything went into death and dying. Everything. So then the whole goal, what Jesus was trying to do, is get us to turn back to him and be reconnected so that his life could flow through us down to the earth. Okay. And because kids, they make you simplify it because you're trying to, how do I say this, into getting into this big old dissertation. You're just like, oh, this is it. But then as I saw it so simply again, I go, oh, and I start seeing how does this work? Okay. So if God's life is supposed to come to the earth, it has to come through Adam. But Eve, so being men, it comes to men first. So from God to man. Then it goes to Eve. Now think about this. It's like two breakers. Click. This breaker's functioning now. Click. But then this one has to function too. Click. And as soon as this one functions, then the life can be manifest, right? So the children are definitely the next step. But as far as I'm speaking right now, the relationship between the man and the woman is to bring life upon the earth. That's what it does. It's like two breakers coming down. Click. So once a man follows the Lord, boop, and becomes the image of God, right? And follows him, the image and the glory of God, then he goes click into place, right? Well, so if she's still out here being a feminist and not wanting to submit to her husband, life can't be brought in. So Satan has been attacking women and all these good Christian women, and he's been absolutely after them and making them think that they are the ones that are the spiritual ones, and they're the ones that are supposed to be the leaders, and they're all this other stuff. Which you look through all the church, women are running the show. Everything is going to them. Everything is because the woman will be the one that'll take the family out of the church if she gets offended or doesn't like it or whatever. It's always this way. It's 3-1 in the churches, if not more, of women to men. Because men don't have anything to do with the church, because the church, it's not practical. It doesn't do anything. It's just a bunch of people putting on a show. So, but anyway, as a woman reconnects, as she submits to her man, click, now life can be spread. Okay? And this is the whole purpose. But it's funny because Eve was of Adam and the rib, and this is the way it's always meant to be. The man is the image and the glory of God. The woman is the image and glory of the man. But if the man is in the likeness and the glory of God, then the woman becomes in the likeness and glory of God. But it has to be that order, because God set it up that way to display his wisdom and power and might. So when the men submit, like we have been doing now, we see the Lord as he is, and we've bowed and acknowledged him in all ways and follow him in all ways. There's nothing but the Lord now. This has happened this year. So you can go around and ask all these guys. Ask Doug, Nick, Mike, Patrick, Eon, Paul Paulson, all these guys, everywhere. You go around and ask all these people, and they will show you that this year they've seen more than they've ever seen in their life. And it's because the Lord has shown us himself as he is. We see that all religions are bullshit. Everything's a lie. Everything. And so we are absolutely submitted to him now. Okay. Now it's the woman's turn. So, sorry, my chair shrunk down on me. Big guy in a little chair, I guess. So now it's the woman's turn, right? So the woman needs to commit and submit to her man. So a man's unconditional love to a woman is called commitment. A man commits to her. He won't leave her. He's always by her side. He will not quit. Okay. This is commitment. Most women don't like that. It's not what they think love should be, and part of the problem. But This is the commitment that God has given us, that we love Christ as Christ loved the church. And the way Christ loved the church wasn't some sentimental, gushy, goochy goo, bringing flowers and that kind of love. It was the fact that he was faithful, absolutely faithful to his word, demonstrated his love and his absolute faithfulness. Okay. Because this is what women desire more than anything, is that faithfulness, that absolute assurance that you're never going to go anywhere. And that's how the Lord got me. So then now as a man, the Lord has made you full of substance. You become a rock, so where you can't move. Now a woman, on the other hand, her unconditional love, which she does not like to hear, is that she has to submit to her husband unconditionally, as if he was God. And the scriptures say that very word, as if he were God. She needs to submit to her husband in all things and all ways. Unconditionally. Like a man has to unconditionally submit to God too. And unconditionally love her. Her love is shown in her absolute submission. Respect. That's what respect is absolute submission. I know women don't like to hear this, and it's going to show, but that'll show you where Satan is in you, where he's got the foothold in you, is the anger that will come up because of what I'm saying right now. Because, my wife is a good woman, but whenever I brought this up to her, she hit the ceiling, right? I mean, it wasn't like she was just a little pissed. And my friends have all had the same situation. Whenever they brought it up to their women just went nuts. I mean, just, and I'm sure, they all got over it. But the thing is that it shows you where Satan has been putting in and developing his guard in them, where he's whispering all the time to get them to build up a reaction to this. It's just the way it is. But you can see, because Satan, if the men have already clunk into place, so think of it as a couple breakers, right? So the man clunks into place by his obedience to God. Click. So then now all that's waiting for is the women to come in and click and become a breaker so that the energy can flow through. But the women right now are like, I mean, you can see out there in the world where Satan is destroying it, all the gender ideologies, everything. He's trying to get women to be so feminist. All the churches are, everywhere you go is trying to get women to make men. So like even all of our advertising, everything tries to make men look stupid and arrogant and idiotic and all these other things. So women are like, I'm not going to submit to him. He's not worthy of it. He's not this. He's not that. How do I even know he's of God? And blah, 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 blah. Well, it doesn't matter. Your faith in God is you're commanded to submit. Click. Okay. Well, part of the reason why women are so miserable in their marriages is also because they have not submitted. Because now they're under a curse. Because if a woman does not submit to her husband, she is counted as if she is separated from life. She is dead. To the measure by which she connects and submits to her husband, then she connects to him, and all the intimacy that they always say they want and everything else, as long as you do what they say, but they won't do what you want. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, I'm speaking this from a man's perspective, and it has been very frustrating, and I'm trying to be real nice right now, but I know how this goes, and I've had to deal with it for a long time, and all guys have. And it's just like, and just we're like, all you hear all the time is women say, you have to love us like Christ loved the church. Well, what do you have to do? And you're like, oh, women are so entitled. They think that they just, for existing, that they believe that we should love them and respect them and to do all these things just for existing. But the thing is that the good thing is, and the good news is that a man of God doesn't commit to you for anything about you, whether you're worthy about it or not. I'm going to tell you right now. No woman is worthy of absolute commitment because of her intrinsic worth. None. So, the good news is that God, poof, we submit to God. God creates that absolute commitment in us. So, my obedience to God is commitment to my wife. I don't always like it. It's not always fun. But it's not just, so my wife is always mad at me because she's like, oh, well, because I don't need her. I don't have any need for my wife. I don't have any need for her approval, whether she likes me or doesn't like me. I don't have any need for that. That's not what I live for. I live for God's approval. And so she gets mad about that because she's like, well, you don't love me, blah, blah, blah. I said, no. What this proves is I love you even more, because even I don't have any lust for you or need for you, anything. I don't have anything. yet I choose to be with you. That is the greatest honor anyone can bestow upon another person. Although to a woman, that's just crap, apparently. I mean, a fallen woman, right? So, now, likewise, if a woman sees that her obedience to God is submitting to her husband, because there's not any man who is worthy of being submitted to. We're all pieces of crap, just like all women are complete liars and losers. I'm just saying, and I'm being brutally honest, because I want you guys to see that nobody can live up to the images that we're expecting each other to live up to. It's stupid, right? So a man commits to his wife in his worship to God is to commit to his wife, to be his obedience to God. Now, women, it's your turn. Okay, your turn to reconnect. You need to put yourself underneath your husband. Try it for a little while at least, just until we get life back on the earth, and you can quit then if you want to. But the problem is, once you start doing it, you'll start receiving the blessings. Your whole family will receive the blessings, and your children will receive the blessings if you can get by your selfishness and your pride. If you can do it. Okay? And I'm sorry for being so blunt, but it's like I don't know how else to tell you. Women, so I'm going to tell you right now, we men have submitted to God. Anyone who sees him like we see him now, that we see him so high and lifted up, and we see his glory, we submit to him because there's nothing else to submit to. Once you see it, it's not because we've used our will and our effort and our strength and everything else and said, oh, we're going to submit today. It's like once you see that he is the only thing to submit to, you can't submit to anything else. So then men, if we've done our job in submitting to God to bring life to the earth, now a woman needs to submit to her husband in order to bring life to the earth, to see that it's not about her. It's about God's plan of bringing life back to the earth. It's to save her whole family and her children, to all around us. If she can pull her head out of her ass and do it. Okay? If you're offended, I'm sorry. But it's seriously, women, you know that this is your struggle. You know you won't submit to your husband. You know you want to have your way. You want to control. You want to have it. You know you do. That's where all of our fights come from, in my relationship at least, is where there's this, I'm like, I have to take the reins and go, no, you're not taking it. I'm taking it. And it's like, I gotta, it's like a dog with a freaking rope and you're trying to get it back and you're just like, give it to me. You know, and it's just like, and it causes this argument all the time. And you're just like, just submit. Just submit. Let me lead this stuff. I got it figured out because God, I know God. I see him. I'm submitting to him. Follow me so we can bring life to the earth. But it's just like, man, it's like pulling teeth. And that's, anyway, ask any man, a woman, and a man, be honest with your women, okay? Just quit buttering them up just so you can avoid the fight. Say, yes, you have not been submitting to me. You are controlling and manipulative. You keep pushing your agenda. You keep trying to steer the ship rather than let me do it. It's a lot of work, I'm telling you. And it's like you're trying to stay committed to your wife and you're trying to love her, but then she's over here just causing problems, and you're going, it's like you're just like, it'd be so much easier if you would just go with me, work with me instead of against me. Anyone have this experience? Any guys? Can I get an amen? I'm going to tell you right now. So, and women, you have all this angst and you have all these angling and all this stuff that you're going to have because your mind is always trying to manipulate rather than just relax. If your husband makes a wrong decision, then he makes a wrong decision. But the thing is that's God is guiding your husband. And if your husband makes a wrong decision, God will make it right. You got to put your faith in God and just follow. Okay? It's like, geez, been Christmas. And I shouldn't have to even be telling you these things. You women should be figuring this shit out yourself and teaching other women to do it too. Anyway, this is very, 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 very important. This is not about you. This is about life being brought to the earth. Husbands, you need to quit simping. Quit trying to please your wives over God. Quit trying to be the men that your wives want you to be. Who cares? I told my wife a while back, I said, I have a choice here. I can either listen to you, and I can become the man you want me to be, which you won't want anyway. You'll have no respect for, and he's a worthless pile. That's a simp. This is the man you say you want, which you could have had. My wife's beautiful. She could have had any one of those men if she would have wanted them, right? She could have. They were all lining up to her like dogs. I said, or I can become the man God has made me to be, so that I can be the fullness of what God intends. The perfect man, the husband according to God. I go, which one do you want? And what she wanted to say is she wants the simp. But she realized, she goes, no, that's better to have this man. This man is the better man. Even though she doesn't get what she thinks she wants. But then the thing is that she doesn't even know what she wants. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, women say they want this kind of man, this sensitive, loving guy, but they always hook up with the guys that are not like that. They hook up with the men who are not simps. Okay? I'm just telling you the truth. Women like a man who is not dominated by them. They're just hardwired that way. If you're a pussy and you're all nicey and this and that, I'm not saying to be mean to your wife. I'm saying to treat her with all respect and dignity. But the thing is, when she starts making you do stuff that you don't want to do, or you start thinking is incorrect, or these things, or she's causing issues, and you need to put a stop to it. Okay? You need to stand up and demand that she respect. And that respect is submit. You have to make her submit. If she won't do it, you know what I mean? You have to, not make her, you have to make her and encourage her to submit. You can't just go along with what she has to say, because the woman doesn't have direct connection to God, not direct leadership. She might get revelations, she might see things, she might not, but it's through the man that God establishes this order. No matter how, I'm telling you right now, I don't care how good you are as a woman. I don't care how great you know your scriptures and how great of a teacher you are. You don't have that order. You still have to encourage your man to take that position. You have to use all these things you have to get him into the leadership role. Otherwise, he cannot connect to God, and you can't connect to him. There can't be life there. You will both be under a curse. If you keep seeking the headship, you will receive the curse of God. It's just the way it is. Sorry, I didn't make this up. God did. So, anyway, I want to recap. So God has to bring life to the earth. Life was to the earth so God to Adam, and then Eve came along, right? So we know for sure that in Adam everything died. So then in Christ shall everything be made alive. So then we know that, and then it says, as Christ is to man, man is to woman. That God, that the man is the image and dominion of God. The woman is the image and dominion, or the image and the image and the dominion, or the glory of man, not the other way around. So that's why, women, you have to submit. It's your act of faith. If you do not, you will curse yourself and your family, and all the way to death. I'm just telling you. I'm sorry. We're at the time now where God will raise the men to life, and the men will sanctify the children. It's not necessary for you to come to life with your husband. If you don't, if your husband submits to God and he's already become the conduit of life, then the children will be sanctified through your husband. You don't have to be brought to life with your husband. Just the way it is, you guys. So, submit or perish. That's your options. And it's not an ultimatum, it's just a fact. You know it in yourself. Anytime you control your husband, you have a curse on you. You can feel it. The anger comes up in you, the control, the manipulation, the satanic traits come right out. And the same thing with a man whenever he tries to manipulate and control through simping. And giving her gifts and doing these things and saying how precious she is and she's the most beautiful, perfect thing ever. And I would just walk 5,000 miles for you. And you're just so amazing. That is simping, you guys. It's not the way it is. Okay. So without trying to piss you off too much, we're gonna go through several chapters of different places in the New Testament to where this. I mean, we go to the Old Testament, it'll be even worse for you because it says what to do to a disobedient wife back there. There's a lot of back in the Old Testament. It's a lot more brutal because it was very important. It's always been important, even under the law, that a woman submit to her husband in showing forth the gospel. If you do not, which we're going to get here in a minute, you're blaspheming the gospel by not submitting to your husband. You're counted as an infidel by not submitting to your husband. It's actually, it's your main sin. It's like, so if a man, so the curse came upon Adam because God said to him, because you have listened to your wife and the thing that I commanded thee not, that's why the curse came down. Because Adam listened to his wife rather than God. That's simping, by the way. Okay. So be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. It's the order. Okay? Every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonors his head. Okay? So what we need to be, and this is, I mean, I don't know how much, I mean, I do appreciate the women that do cover their head when they pray. I do see there's several religious sects that they do that, where women do cover their heads, but it's a sign of humility and submission. And I like that. But it's not necessarily, I don't think that you have to have the outward covering, even though that would be a nice touch. But it's to have that idea of this submission. Okay? He says, but every woman that prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head. See, it's showing that covered head shows your submission to your husband, which also shows that you're a faithful woman of God, godly woman. For that is even all as one if she were shaven. So if she doesn't cover her head, she might as well shave it off, which that doesn't look good on women, typically. I mean, there's a couple women that looks pretty good, but not very many. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shaved. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shaven, let her be covered. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and the glory of God. The man is, not the woman. So then the man has to come to the image and the glory of God. And then the woman, through the man, becomes the image and glory of God as well. But she doesn't have that direct link. God set this up on purpose. But the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Okay? Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman was created for the man. Again, showing you're not equal. This is not an equal process. You are not. The man is the head. You are not. You are to submit to the head. Okay? Nevertheless, neither is a man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of God. Okay, and this is saying to keep women in respect, to keep them in dignity. He's not saying that women are equal. This is not saying that this is just a circular thing where, no, we see a woman is the head. No, it's not. And this is where women get a lot of times people get, and women mainly get twisted up right here. But he's talking to say to reverence and honor your woman and love her. He's saying that because you're the head doesn't mean you can be a bully over her. That's what he's saying. But the man is, and then we're going to get into Peter, and he's going to say it even more bluntly. Okay. And he says, judging yourselves, is it comely that a woman prayed unto God uncovered? Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. See, that's cool. But anyway, also it's funny because if Paul says that long hair is not good for a man, I just likely don't think that Jesus had long hair, but it's just what I don't think. But anyways, let's move on. Anyways, I was going to go through on that one. I was going to go through just showing you the nature of death and life. But okay. Okay, I want to get into the context here. It says, for this reason, he says, and this is actually Ephesians 5:14. For this reason, he says, awake, you that sleep, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light. So this is talking about life right now. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. For this reason, be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord, giving thanks always for all things unto God and the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. So he's talking about one group here. This is talking about the men submitting to each other. Now he's going to say, talking about wives. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as unto the Lord. See, this is where this is going to be cutting to women, and this is a letter to you. So, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as unto the Lord. So that's unconditional, like he is your boss. He is you are to obey him in everything. And they're going, what if he says this? What if he says that? Because women are always going to go to that first argument. Well, he's going to do this, and he's going to ask me to do that. What if he says this? What if he says that? Blah, blah, blah. Trying to sneak their way out of this commitment. But the thing is that, you know what? Most godly men really seek to bless their wives because they're seeking to glorify God. They want to bring life to their family. It's so unwarranted, but I hear this argument all the time with women. It's always like, oh, well, what if he commands me to do this? What if he commands me to do that? What if this? What if that? Blah, 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 blah. In some way, trying to abscond themselves from this responsibility. Knock that off. It says unto the Lord. Submit yourselves as unto the Lord. It doesn't say if you want to, if he's a nice guy, if he's doing the right things. It does not say that. It says submit to him as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. There is no excuse, women. There is no way out. It's everything, all things, as if he was the Lord. This is your duty. If a man submits to God, you need to submit to him. If you want to bring life, if you want to keep dying and you want your children to die, then do what you want. Just go back and let your pride rule you and receive the curse. And then here's the verse you all know. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing water of the word. And again, it's showing again that how Christ saved the church as a man is supposed to be to his wife. Okay? What about if we said, well, what if she's a bitch? What if she does this? What if she does that? Blah, 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 blah. If we did that and tried to abscond ourselves from this, you see what I mean? It's stupid. It's always, all the time, this is what we're commanded to do. That's it. End of story. Women will get behind this one. Oh, yeah, you're supposed to love us like Christ loved the church. But they don't see the whole part. You have to submit unto us as if we are God. Submit. 100%. No questions asked. No limitations. 100%. Otherwise, don't call yourself a faithful woman. Don't call yourself a follower of God. And just, keep going into death. Okay? So ought to men love their wives as their own bodies. He that loves his wife loves himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, even as the Lord, the church. For we are members of his body, of one flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and that shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This cannot happen if a woman does not submit unto her husband. A man is not to submit to his wife in any way, shape, or form. He's to submit to God, and God alone, and no one else. Okay? A woman needs to submit to her man, otherwise they cannot cleave. And this is what we can see, is that now I can cleave with the Lord because I've now fully submitted to him. I understand what it means to submit to him. Now I understand because he is the absolute only living God. Now, if a woman, if she sees God as he is, she now should be able to commit and submit to her husband. Submit unconditionally, like a man's supposed to love unconditionally, which is committing unconditionally. Commit and submit. Anyway, let's move on. Now we're going to get to, up to this point, it hasn't been too bad, but in a minute, it's going to get worse whenever Peter says it. Because Peter's a little bit more even blunt than Paul, I think. You might not be so, but... Okay, so now let's move up to 1 Timothy, and we're going to be in 2:8. Okay, let's start in 8. I will therefore that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands without wrath and without doubting. And like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not the broiding of hair or the gold of pearls or costly array. Okay, let's get into this. Because women, man, you love to get all over men about porn and how bad it is. And you're right, it is bad. We shouldn't have it. I wish it was gone. And you'll browbeat and tell men how it's unacceptable, and I'll leave a man if he gets into porn, and you guys will blah blah blah, and you'll just sit there and I mean you'll have a frickin' pitchfork fest over men over it. But what you won't do is look at these other women and watch how they're trying to make themselves more beautiful and all these things that they're trying to do in order to gain attention from other men and other people. So women, the men, they lust after the porn, the physical, sexual things. But women, they lust after attention, worship, acknowledgement, all these other things. This is what women worship after. And what they worship after and what they lust after has been way more damaging to all marriages than that. And they're also the ones that create the porn, don't forget. Okay. So going down the line. So the thing is that women are encouraged by other women to do that, to seek this gratification, to seek and to be beautiful and to do these things and be fashionable and to get all this attention and praise. And people, it's like women are always seeking to be acknowledged and seen, and this is their porn, right? And it's been way more damaging. It's caused 80% of divorces. It's caused 90% of the divorces. It causes everything that's going on, all the LGBT, all the headship stuff, the BLM, all this stuff that women are all championing. They're the heads of all this stuff. Everything that is evil in the world right now that we see socially, women are at the forefront of it. Feminism, LGBTQ, I mean, go down the list. Everything you see, women are the head of it. The Democrat Party. Everywhere you go. I mean, the Republicans are no saints, don't get me wrong, but the Democrats are like 10,000 times worse. They're disgusting humans. All the abortion stuff, that's all women. Everywhere you go, it's women fighting to kill their own babies because they are under the curse because they're not submitting. They've lost their minds. And then as these men keep simping to those women, God, can you imagine simping to one of these blue-haired freaks? I mean, come on. Okay, so let's go on down. Which becomes Okay, let's go back through it. In like manner, also the women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety. Not flirting around, not being all like, trying to get attention for herself. I mean, it's just funny because this is what women are trained to do. This is what they look for. This is like all the princess things, everything, all the advertisements on TV. Everything that they have is all to lift them up and to make them feel superior, to make them feel like they're boss bitches, and that makes them feel like they're the shit. Everything is pushing women that way because Satan is behind it all. Because he knows that if a woman will not submit, she'll stay cursed and dead and life cannot come through her. So, but which becomes women professing godliness with good works. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, not even to be a leader, not even to teach in the church. Okay? Nor to usurp authority or to be a leader in the church over the man, but to be in silence. This is going to be a very, very important thing, this silence thing, which women, that is like almost impossible to get a woman to be silent. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. So this being saved in childbearing is now starting to dawn on me that this is the manifestation of life in a woman. It's because women, once they become children, or once they have children, they become much more accountable. They become much more realistic in their views of themselves, and children make women, I mean, to a degree, it makes them teachable. Okay. If they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety, and that's your holiness. So if you're bagging on men for their addiction to porn and all these other things, yet you yourself are seeking all this attention, which leads to all of the divorces, right? Because women wanting attention. My husband's not making me happy. What makes a woman happy is attention. It's what they lust for. It's what they need. It's what they'll do anything for is attention. Just like a man will do anything for sex, what we crave and desire and what we want. I mean, thank God as I'm getting older, that need is finally calmed down. And so now, imagine that. I read books. I know the Lord. I mean, it's just funny. You become a much better man after that point once you've let that down. Well, then a woman, when she detoxes from her attention seeking, she'll see her life become much better, and the curse will lift off her. I mean, I'm really thinking about cutting off all social media. Anyway, let's move up to 1 Peter 3. And this is the one where, so remember, Paul said that you need to submit to your husband as if he was the Lord, right? Unconditional submitting. Okay. Let's start in chapter 3:1. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of their wives. So the gospel is being manifested by a woman who is submitting to her husband. And the gospel is what causes faith, what causes belief, which regenerates a man. So if the woman is truly as loving as she says she is, and she wants to save her husband, the only thing that she can do is submit to him in order to save him. That's your duty, is to prove your faith to God. Nobody said it'd be easy, right? Up to this point, I think women have just been coasting and just because I go to church and I do these things. I know so many men that just go to church because their wives make them, right? And simp, you're a simp. You're being led by your wife to the synagogue of Satan to just lead your family to the slaughter. And you're just complicit with it as a man, just letting her run you around, bringing you in her absolute lack of knowledge to the place of death outside of her order. And so you're responsible for your own family's destruction. Just saying. So, while they behold your chaste way of life coupled with fear, the fear of God. Whose adorning, let it not be the outward adorning, or the plaiting of the hair, or the wearing of gold, or the putting on of apparel, which is for your attention. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God a great price. So a loud, boisterous, commanding, overbearing woman, a feminist, or a masculine woman, is not. She is absolutely nothing to God, right? It's the one with a meek and quiet spirit, which is of value to God. So then who do you want to be valuable to, women? Do you want to be valuable to yourself or to God? What do you want to do? Do you want to have your way and your feminism and your control and go to death? Or do you want to submit and come to life? What do you want to do? I know probably most women will probably cut this off by now, but I want you guys to see that this is, anyway, this is mainly for men anyway, so that men can see what is going on, how we have to restore life to the world, and how we have to become and follow the Lord with all of our heart and soul and mind and bodies in order to bring this to pass. Because now the good news is that now that we have seen God, the next thing will happen is the women will start coming. Okay, it should happen. This is the way it is because God's going to reveal it to them, because that's the only way we're obedient. It's just that women have to confess their sin. They have to confess that they were going the wrong way. They have to confess they were disobedient, which is, getting a woman to confess is like, that's crazy. That's like, that's a miracle in itself. Okay. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being in subjection to their own husbands. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters you are, as long as you do well and are not afraid with any amazement. Likewise, you husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, not equal, not at all, the weaker vessel. And God has set it up this way, so that we have to be dependent on Him. You've got to be dependent on us. It's not my fault. Whether you like it or not, this is what you're commanded to do from God. For the harmony of your relationship, for bringing life to the earth, to the benefit of your whole family, not just you. He says, under the weaker vessel, as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. So it's always about us being in unison, being cleaved. Once we cleave together, there's nothing we can't do. But Satan has kept women from cleaving. And that's what's coming next, boys. The women are going to cleave. God is going to reveal it to them, the necessity of it, and He's going to give them the ability and the will to do it. It is coming. Okay. Anyway, but that's all I'm trying to get into today. This is all stuff you can easily look up yourself. So, man, you're commanded to commit to your wife, uncommitted, and that is your unconditional love to her. A woman, she's to unconditionally submit to her husband, which is her respect to him. Women, you're supposed to obey a husband as if he was the Lord. The man is the image of God and the glory of God, and the woman is the image of the man. It is not, women do not have direct access like we do. They have to come, so as the men develop, the women will develop with men. I don't care how much knowledge you think you have, how amazing you think you are, and what you know in scriptures, and how great of a teacher you are as a woman. It doesn't mean anything. Life is what matters. Okay? If you want to bring life to the earth, you have to submit. So the husband submits, click. So then now life is all the way to this point here. Now the woman has to submit, click, to take that life, and then we can overspread the world with it. But the women have to submit, and this is where Satan is attacking 100%. Anyway, you can see it. I know you can. There's no denying it. And women, so if men were being simps and we were not taking the position of leadership and all these other things, And that's why women always say, well, I can't submit to a man who isn't a leader. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you have your leaders. Even if you don't agree with what they look like, you have to submit to them. And if you want to get a man to submit to God, you still have to submit to him to get him to submit. Do you understand? It's just so simple. You know? Anyway, good luck, guys. And if you want to have some fun, I don't know if you want to deal with it right now, but if you want to have some fun, bring this up to your women. Show them where their order is and who they are and where they are on the hierarchy and why they need to submit, and watch how mad they're going to get right off the bat. I'm sure they'll calm down later, but their first reaction is going to be fiery, just to show you that they've been conditioned to be your enemy. All right, my brothers and sisters, have a great day. Hope this was helpful, and have fun. Later.